some thoughts I've had recently. Since a recent experience with pain, I've thought about it more than usual, if I ever think of it at all. And I realize it's something we may not think of unless we are experiencing it or see someone who appears to be in pain. How is it that you almost never hear some people talk about pain, and for others it's a common topic of conversation? I certainly wouldn't encourage you to spend time talking about negative things, but think about it. If just mentioning anything would reliably bring it to us, we'd soon run out of space to put our stuff. Pain is an interesting phenomenon. Sometimes it's our first clue that something is wrong in our body. So people who are stoic about their pain and don't want to burden others with their complaints sometimes keep silent for so long that when they finally do seek medical attention, it's close to too late. Some people create their own miracles. An example is Norman Cousins, who thought that laughter was the best medicine and kept himself in remission for from several severe conditions by watching old silent movies and old black and white comedies like The Three Stooges. And when his time came, he left us. But today I don't want to talk specifically about pain, but about paying attention to what's going on in your life. When conditions in the milieu are right, growth and or decay occurs. While we can't always or ever see this milieu, we do see the manifestation. In their workshops, the Abraham Group says, people say to us, it just came out of the blue. Have you ever felt that? I didn't see that coming. But, they continue, things don't come out of the blue. In fact, we manifest them. They come out of the oblivious, that's us, but not out of the blue. So, we need to wrap our brains around what's going on with us. What's in the soup pot of our lives? Do we know what's cooking in there? As I thought about it, it seemed that procrastination was a good place to start looking at what's going on. We procrastinate, maybe not about everything, but about some things. We don't have enough information, don't know enough about a particular subject, so we're put off taking action. And that's what Reverend Sheila talked about in her Harmony Gym this morning. Do you ever find that when things finally come to a head, they can be even worse than you imagined? Or maybe you find yourself wondering what the fuss was all about. You ask for guidance on one thing, and something else that you hadn't foreseen becomes a major problem. Are you trying to do too many things or lacking the skills to do some of the things that you need done? Or perhaps you just feel up to a challenge. I do my own taxes, but after it was over this year, I realized that while I was working on the taxes, other things weren't getting handled. Was I setting myself up for some health challenges I hadn't anticipated? It could be a time management issue, but the question is, what do we value? What's important to us? You've probably heard some version of this story. A professor stood before his class of college freshmen with a demonstration to make a point. On a table before him sat an empty bucket, and he picked up a container of fist-sized rocks, adding them to the bucket until it was filled to the brim. Then he asked the class, will the bucket hold anything else? The students agreed it was full. Then the professor took a container of small gravel and poured it into the bucket. As he tapped the sides of the bucket, the gravel filtered into the space between the larger rocks. Again, the class now felt fairly confident the bucket wouldn't hold anything else. Then the professor produced a bag of sand, which of course settled into the bucket around the rocks and the gravel. Then he asked the students to say why he had made this demonstration. Most felt it was to show that no matter how busy our lives are, there's always room for something else to be added. And maybe that's what you'd say. But the professor had an entirely different purpose. He wanted the students to grasp this concept. You have to first put into your bucket, your day minder, your calendar, or however you track your time and activities, the big things, the things that are important to you. True, there's always time for more things to be added, but if we first fill our bucket with sand and small gravel, some of the big rocks will still fit, but mostly, not all of them, most likely. There is an area of your life that you neglect on a constant basis, on a consistent basis. Do you know what that is? In a recent talk, I mentioned that we judge ourselves, and the report card is our self-esteem. We say things like, I'm not worth a visit to the doctor just to set my mind at ease over this pain that came up a few weeks ago and hasn't gone away. It's probably nothing. Of course you're worth it. How and when are you going to make that happen? I'm not worth a new pair of shoes, even though these old ones hurt my feet. Of course you are, and how and when are you going to make that happen? I don't really need a satisfying, intimate relationship. I'm not really that lonely, and besides, I don't have the opportunity to meet new people. Of course you do and can, and when and how are you going to make that happen? We're too busy at my work, so I can't afford to take time off. Of course you can. How and when are you going to make that happen?